Hi everybody, I'm Suzette Martinez Standring and welcome to It's All Right with Suzette, which is a show about writing. And very vital to the craft of writing are readers. And we have a very special guest today, Tom Lyons, who is the president and owner of New England Mobile Book Fair. And he's going to talk about his new ownership and the big changes that he's done to this 56-year-old institution, which is located in Newton Highlands. I want to welcome you today, Tom. Thank you for being with us. And you know, the New England Mobile Book Fair has been around for 56 years. Maybe you could orient our listeners on a little bit of its history.
I'd be glad to. Thank you for having me and helping me get the word out on the store. As you said, it's been around for 56 years. It's an icon in the local area, Newton Highlands on Needham Street. And I never intended to buy a bookstore. I have been a management consultant for a long time. And back in 2011, I was off of a consulting job where I was away for about 18 months and had a few weeks off. So I decided to go over to the New England Mobile Book Fair to unwind. For those that aren't familiar with the store, it looks like a small storefront, but it's 32,000 square foot warehouse, and it's just chock full of books.
A million.
Well,
books.
There's a million new books and that we keep rotating. And there is also another million in our bargain room. And
wow.
The bargain room is, those are also new books, but they're basically what's called remainders. And remainders are books that get sent back to the publisher, and the overstock or a store closed, like when Borders closed, for example, millions of books went back to publishers. The publishers then wrap them up in big cartons, and then they bid them out to wholesalers, and so we get them. We can buy them directly, or we can buy them from other wholesalers. So a coffee table book on, say, Renaissance art, for example, might cost $75 new, and we might sell it for $29 or $19. So it's great for somebody that's looking for a gift that doesn't want to spend a lot of money but wants to have a very nice gift, and so that works very well. And we have a million books in our bargain room, as well as a million books in our main store. So that's a lot of books.
Well, you know, it is a lot of books, and it was amazing to find, you know, because they had been in business for a long time, and then in 2011, you bought the bookstore, and I've read articles, and they've said that it was because you wanted to save an icon. You know, it's a bibliophile's paradise. There's so many books. You've instituted some big changes to the store. I mean, for many, many years, it was the books were arranged by publisher, and it was very frustrating for a lot of people, but it was a browser's paradise. And so, you know, since you've taken over in 2011, tell us a little bit about what the store is offering now and how it's been arranged.
Sure.
Or rearranged.
Definitely rearranged. Yeah, let me step back just a little bit. When I had said earlier that I didn't intend to buy a bookstore,
yes.
You know, when I went into the store in, it was June of 2011, and I knew the store had been put up for sale in November of 2010.
Right.
And I ran into one of the managers, and I said, I guess you've been sold, because it's such an icon. It's one of Yankee Magazine's best buys and so on. And they said no, and I was very surprised. And in doing more research, based on brick and mortar independent bookstores decreasing rapidly and more online, nobody had stepped up to buy the store. And I went home that afternoon and I thought about it, and I thought what a shame it would be if this place was to go under. So I couldn't sleep a couple of nights, and I finally called the broker and sat down with him for 4 or 5 hours. And when I came out of there, I knew that I was going to take a shot at buying the store. So I did. All of my friends and acquaintances all, you know, had the same thing to say. You know, what is wrong with you?
And they're still asking.
And they're still asking. Buying a bookstore. You know, but I did it. We did the transaction in November of 2011, just before the holiday season. And it's been a wild ride, but it did need to have a lot of things done. For one thing, it's probably the only store in America, bookstore, that had books by publisher. And originally it made sense because they sold a lot of books to schools and libraries. And in those days, the schools and libraries bought books by publisher. But of course, the world changed, it computerized. The book fair did not. When I bought it, there was no online inventory. All of the work we did on inventory was guesstimates. And so we had a lot of work to do. First of all, there was about 2 inches of dust on everything, and so we had to fix the central vacuum systems. We did that. We started raising pallets so it'd be easier for elderly people to take a look at the books and get at them and then be able to move their eyes up the wall and see what other new books are out. We moved a lot of things around. When you first went into the store, there was a whole wall of travel books, and we changed that out to have the 100 notable New York Times books there. And then after the season was over, we started putting all the new releases. New releases come out every single week, hundreds of them. And so we try to get the books that we want to carry and that the publishers are pushing, and we put those up. And now we have a following of people that come in every week, and they look at that front wall to see what new books are there, what's been on NPR, and so on.
So you're very current, and you have reorganized things from publisher to categories.
Yes.
So it's a lot easier for people to find.
We started that. I have to mention that my staff all stayed. These people have been in the store for 6, 8, 10 years. I've got one woman that's been there for 35 years, and they know books. And you mentioned a title, you mentioned an author, and these people are all over it, and I'm not. I'm learning, but that kind of experience you can't buy, and everybody has stayed. They want the bookstore to be there. And so when I started moving the books from publisher to category, we had one heck of a time. We started a year ago, April, and we're down. We have 3 more publishers, paperbacks only, that we have not moved, and we're in the process of doing that.
How many people did it take to basically move to around 2 million books?
Well, 1 million. We haven't touched the remainder room. We're leaving that alone. I can only take on so much. But every one of those books has probably been moved 3 or 4 times, because the first thing you have to do, we had to take an area that had low sales and move that off the floor into the warehouse. Then we had to take the area that we had cleaned out after we vacuumed it, and we had to take the first publisher that we decided on, and we had to bring it over there and separate it into fiction and nonfiction. And that was after I used a consultant, Kate Worley, who lives on Cape Cod. She's written a couple of books, and she does a lot of work with bookstores in terms of renovating the insides and so forth. And she helped us tremendously in mapping out what it would be, where you sell what. And so we took the first publisher, separated it out, and for fiction you've got romance, mystery, and fiction. And so you have to separate those areas. And so that's, thousands of books per publisher. Then you have to take the nonfiction, and you have to break that into so many categories. You have health, you have diet, you have cookbooks, you have history, and then history breaks up into world history, U.S. history, military history. It just goes on and on and on.
And you do have it all. You do have, for anybody who has not yet been to the New England Mobile Book Fair, it is an amazing place. It's a warehouse. It's filled to the rafters with books, and now nicely organized. I understand that when you bought the place, there was no online inventory, as you say. How many computers now do you have for people who want to come in and look something up?
We have, well, for people who want to look something up, we don't have any. We have one that's an old one with a disk in it. We had to start over. We had to buy a server. We bought 12 computers, and then we had to buy an inventory system. which is kind of an expensive proposition. And then we had to work with the software developers to create things for our own needs. And most of the inventory systems out there are either DOS-based or still COBOL. And
Wow.
I felt that, that the technology was so bad that we couldn't live with that. And we found one system out there that's in SQL, and that's table-driven, so you can make changes rapidly. And we were able to make a lot of changes to the software. But with that also brings testing and unit testing, and then testing in the
That's
system.
amazing. You're really taking on a lot. Before we take the break, I'm really interested in knowing. Now, you had been a consultant, a management consultant, and worked with the insurance industry for a long time. And obviously, you're a bibliophile. You didn't want this iconic institution to just disappear. But I would like to know why you felt that you could make a go of it in a time when so many people are going to e-books and everything else.
I guess because I'm insane.
The short answer.
Well,
I don't think so. I think a lot of people will applaud you.
Well, I thought, I saw a lot of flaws, and one of the flaws being stacked by publisher, and in addition to that, the store needed a lot of cleaning, and by revamping things, and then they did no displays. Another thing, they didn't have any author readings. It was just a warehouse full of books. And I thought that if we changed the mix, we have a parking lot that holds 110 cars, and so you've got a place to go. The downside is we're a destination. It's not a place that you walk by and just go in, like some of our competitors. But by changing these things, and then by controlling inventory, by having an online inventory, we felt we could do a lot more. In the old days, before the internet took hold, we had, at the bookstore, they could buy 60 of every book that was ever printed. And some of the older patrons, look at that and they say, why don't you have this book? Well, we had 5 of them and they've been sold, and we're reordering. We can't buy 60 at a time anymore. It's just not like that. So by doing these things and controlling the inventory, we felt that there was a real opportunity to make it a break-even and then a popular and then a profitable operation. So that was what the thinking was.
Well, that's fantastic, and I know that people, there is still a huge demographic that loves to touch books, read, leaf through them. It's really difficult to just buy things cold turkey on the internet. And in a little while after the break, we're going to talk some more with Tom about some of the social and literary events that he's instituted at the New England Mobile Book Fair that are bringing people in. And also, you have some pictures for us, which we will also look at.
That'll be great.
Yeah, we'll do that in the second half.
Okay.
So right now, we're going to take a little break, and I want to thank you all and to ask you to stay tuned with Tom Lyons of New England Mobile Book Fair, and we'll see you in a few moments. Hi, welcome back to It's All Right with Suzette with our special guest, Thomas Lyons, the owner and CEO of New England Mobile Book Fair. And I guess the question that's on everybody's mind, Tom, is Are you making any money?
No, definitely not.
Well, you're just over a year into it.
Right. We had hoped that by the end of 2013 we'd make money, but that's not going to happen. I'm not sure it's going to happen in 2014. And one of the we've spent a lot of money on infrastructure, which it just had to be done. And we're getting 9 out of 10 of our customers are thanking us and saying it's so much easier to find books. And we've expanded our merchandise dramatically, especially for children's, let me call them toys and games, but most of them are focused on learning. We have brain teasers and things like that. And that's getting good play. We hope that once we get a lot of the things out of the way, the phone systems were costing us $3,000 a month, and we've cut that down to $1,000 a month by putting in a new phone system. And there are a lot of infrastructural things like that that we've done. But that inventory system has cost us a lot of money, and now we've got to scan in those million books. 3 more publishers, and we're done moving. And we've already scanned in all the children's books, and so I'm talking about 200,000 or 300,000 children's books.
I think you should be named the patron saint of discount books.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, that was truly a labor of love. And you know, you are. I mean, I remember years ago, I went to the store when I first moved to Milton because I heard about it. It was legendary, and it was incredible. Huge warehouse, lots of books, amazing, but it was kind of hard to navigate. And so, you know, your first year in business, you've done so much to kind of streamline and organize it for the browser. And you're trying to bring in more people. I understand that you are now featuring literary events with authors and workshops. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, no problem. We started a year ago in January bringing authors in. We started with local authors who are looking for a venue, and we put them in a small room that we have for schools and libraries. We sell a lot of books to schools and libraries, including Milton, by the way. The Milton schools buy a book from us because we give them a very good discount. I don't make a lot of money on it, but I think that it's very important that the schools have that capability to get the books that they need. We also encourage the schools to give us their summer reading list as quickly as they can, because we buy hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of copies of all the lists of summer reading and have them available. We have probably about 200 linear feet stuffed with summer reading books. And so this month and next month, the school children start coming in, the high school kids come in and try to get their summer reading done.
Oh, and may I add that, Tom, you know, the New England Mobile Book Fair is giving Milton, the town of Milton, a discounted price on our Milton Reads book, The Gardner Heist.
Right.
The true story of the world's largest unsolved art theft. And that is going to be the town-wide reading project that launches June 12th here in Milton, goes through November, and you are providing us the books.
And we're glad to do it, too.
But tell us a little bit about what, you know, how people can come to your store and what kind of workshops and, and events are coming up at your place.
We do weekly events with authors. And usually it's on a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And by the way, we've expanded the hours. They used to close at 6. We close at 7. Wednesdays we close at 8:30. And anytime there's an event, the store stays open until the event is done. And we have had some spectacular authors in, some with a lot of people coming in, some with a few. Derek Sanderson came in. And we had standing room only. We had 80 or 90 chairs set up, and then we had standing room only. And he was so popular, his publisher ran out of books. We sold 50 books we didn't have, and Derek came back in to sign them with what they wanted. And Tess Garrison came in. She is an international author, and she was very delightful, and she was very, very good to us. And we have so many authors, and we do them Wednesdays. We sometimes do them Saturdays. Upcoming, we're going to have children's reading hours during the week in the morning. We have to get space set up for it, and of course getting the inventory out of the way was the big stumbling block to get that done. But we've held 2 writing workshops.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, there's a woman by the name of Robin Stratton who has written books herself, has written editing books, and is a publisher. And she's published a number of people, and she held an event for people who want to write, and then she held another event for people who have written, and then said, well, now what do I do? I've got this manuscript. Where do I go? How do I get it done? A question I've asked myself on occasion. And then, so
because you've written some books.
I have.
You have a couple of manuscripts.
I've written a Western, and I got tremendous feedback from the editors at Kensington. If I didn't know what an editor did before that, I was just amazed at what they gave me. And so I'm editing that, but I'm also writing 2 mysteries. And I get a lot of help from the mystery community. Last December, we held a mystery event and had 41 mystery writers in. And we set up Murderer's Row, and we had 300 people come in that night.
And Hallie Effron and Linda Barnes were part of that.
Hallie Effron, Linda Barnes, Hank Philippi Ryan, who is a great friend of the store. As a matter of fact, she's written a book that just won the Clark Award for mystery writers, and so that's one of the Edgars that goes out. And so she has been delightful, and she's come in and done her book there. Barbara Shapiro, who wrote another book on the Gardner heist called The Art Forger, which made the bestseller list, and she's been in. And the Mystery Writers of America and the Citrus and Crime Organization have asked for us to do an annual event in December for mystery writers.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we've also done an award for mystery writers in Robert B. Parker's name.
Yes.
When, at that mystery event that night, we had Joan Parker, Robert's widow, come in, and we gave her a plaque, and we got her blessing on the award. And so there's a committee that's going to meet shortly to talk about the criteria and how it's going to be awarded and when it's going to be awarded and so forth.
That's
so
amazing.
We're proud of that.
That's great. So every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, something's going on, like a lecture or a workshop. And how can people find out about it? Is there a website?
Yeah, we have a website, NEBookfair.com, which you'll probably see in one of the pictures. And then we have a Facebook,
Book Fair.
NE Book Fair, for New England Book Fair. We have a newsletter that we send out weekly telling you about the upcoming events for Next in a Row. So they're on our website, and they're also on this newsletter.
And so social media has been helping you develop more business.
Yes, we sent out a note on our Facebook page yesterday about where the changes are, and within 10 minutes we had 163 hits, and then by the end of the day we had 1,100.
That's great.
And we had comments saying, "Okay, great. You know, this is good news." And so we know we're going to have to use social media and get friends of friends to tell everybody about the bookstore. The people that didn't grow up in the area don't know about the store. They don't know we're there. And there's such, people come in and they're just amazed and their jaws drop because there is such a treasury of books. And you go into our bargain room, somebody came out with a book that they got for $19.98, and it turns out it's out of print. It was an art book, and I guess it's selling for $300 on Amazon.
Isn't that amazing?
So you get treasures. They're there.
It is a treasure trove. It really is. And there's kind of an irony that social media is helping you expand the business when it's the very, in a way, the digital age has kind of done a lot to destroy print books. So there's kind of an irony there. But I'm glad to hear that things are moving forward.
Yeah, they are, and if we can hold on, the revenues are down because not that many people are coming into the store and buying books anymore. But a couple of interesting facts is that because we give 20% off on our mass market books, we sell them cheaper than Amazon does.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, and you know, we also give 30% off of current New York Times bestsellers. And we try to do as much as we can. I want to keep that 20% discount there. It drives the business, and I'll try to do it as long as I can. But you know, in addition, I think people need to realize that, you know, they may be able to get a cookbook at Costco for $10 less than I can sell it, but they're going to have a choice of 4 cookbooks at Costco, and they're going to have a choice of, we have 15,000 titles in cookbooks, for example. And, you know, when they need that other cookbook, if they don't come in and buy the book from us, then we're not going to be there. And they're going to be, you know, out of luck when it comes to getting that coffee table book or this particular book that they want. And so we're hoping that a lot of this gets out and people start, you know, coming into the store and, you know, looking through it. Now, they can't go out of there without a book, I don't think.
Well, you know, Tom, you know what I also love is that, you know, it's kind of a second act, a third act in your life, you know, in that, you know, you've been a very successful businessman and, you know, a managerial consultant, and now you've stepped into this new realm, you know, saving an icon and recreating it in many, many ways. And, you know, let's all support the New England Mobile Book Fair. And, you know, the website is nebookfair.com. And, you know, attend some of the Wednesday night programs or workshops. Check it out. And it's really a wonderful thing. It's a destination bookstore warehouse. And it's quirky and charming and wonderful and newly vacuumed and reorganized. And I really want to thank you, Tom, for coming here today and, you know, reviving interest in this really wonderful institution.
Well, thank you so much for having me and you know, letting me get the word out on the store. I appreciate it.
And thank you for giving Milton Reeds a special deal.
Great.
All right. Well, we'll see you again next time on It's All Right with Suzette. And happy reading, happy writing, everyone.